Hey guys, how you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing good on this Tuesday as the playoffs are officially in full swing here. I wanted to talk a little bit about jersey manufacturers and how at the time we didn't necessarily know that new manufacturers were going to come in, but there were subtle hints like a year or two before new manufacturers came in. And I wanted to look at basically how we knew what Reeboks were potentially going to look like from CCM, and then from Reeboks to Adidas. And I start out with this one. This one, the Buffa Slug. This thing is without a doubt it is one of Buffalo's worst looks they've ever had, but yet it was one of their most successful periods of time from a team perspective. Because they were Stanley Cup contenders when they wore this. The first year they came out with this thing, this was the best selling jersey in the league. It just, this whole thing of whatever's going on under here, and of course, on both sides, there's no. This should have been a clue, especially from the start when it came to Reebok about hem striping. But one of the big things, and of course, I was looking around some of the Reeboks. I think a lot of the Reeboks that I have are either still in totes down here or out in the shed, because I have a few Reebok ones. I know my Reebok Anaheim Ducks one, my Reebok Colorado Avalanche one has this neckline. This was CCM had never done this. This was, of course, this jersey came out, I think, a couple years before Reebok took over. And of course, when Reebok took over, this is what a lot of them looked like. A number of the teams, they went with this neckline. The only thing that's missing here is the NHL shield. That's all that's missing on here is the NHL shield. And of course, with Reebok, they went away from the actual embroidered shoulder crests, and they went with that crap, and I will forever say it, that crap one-layer printed vinyl that is just absolute, just why? What in the hell possessed Reebok to think, that's a good look. Let's do that. They wanted to do that on the front. The first Reebok Edge jersey that I saw, that one-layer printed vinyl was on the front. And I thought, that's a disgrace. I'm like, they can't be serious. Thankfully, that didn't stick around long, but they still kept that on the shoulders. It still looked awful, but it wasn't as bad because it was smaller. You couldn't see that. You couldn't see it as much on the shoulder as you would have been able to if that would have been that one-layer printed vinyl on the front crest. Thank goodness, thank God they went away from that, doing that on the front crest, but they still kept it on the shoulders of the Reebok era, and it was awful. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. But yeah, this was basically the template for what Reebok was going to be. Because when Buffalo did this rebrand and they went to this neckline, it was just it should have been the subtle hint that, hey, we're changing this up. We're going away from CCM / Coho to a new manufacturer, and this was the neckline they chose on a lot of them. This neckline, by the way, I have a big head. And yes, I can hear some people in the comments like, damn right, of course you big head, you of course you got a giant head. Yeah, I got a big head. Physically, I have a big head. Trying to get this on, it's not easy. It is not easy. The Reebok ones were not easy to get on. So it was, it was odd. And yeah, you go and you put that on, and it's like right here. I mean, it almost looks like a choker. But this is what they kind of foretold Reebok was going to be, or at least some of the Reebok jerseys was going to be this neckline. So then we go through Reebok, and then we get kind of another change as we get into Reebok. Now, this was a subtle change that should have told us, hey, this is going to be the neckline of Adidas. This, of course, is my Detroit Red Wings. I believe this was the Winter Classic jersey. Look at the neckline here. Look at how thick the neckline is here. Now, by the way, these are real easy to get on. But look at this neckline. Look at where the NHL shield is. Let's compare. This is an Adidas. This, of course, was Reebok. This was a couple years before Adidas came in. It's the same thing. It honestly is basically the same thing. I mean, even you go and you look here, you got the little part separating the white and the blue. It's something very similar. It's just it's a little higher up, but it's right there. Also, you could even look at it even right here. But you've got the collar that separates. You could have very easily kept red down here, and the back could have been white. Very easily. And of course, when I talk about the one layer vinyl, this is what I talk about. Is this, if I can get my hand up here, that. Thankfully, because this is not completely, tried to fray and crack and all that like a lot of this does. I've seen Reebok jerseys with shoulder logos like that. They look awful. They're cracked. They flake off. And fortunately, this one had not. But it's those subtle little hints. And fortunately now, I mean, at least for Fanatics, they're keeping it's very similar to they're basically keeping the Adidas template. I mean, like with the necklines and all that, they're not changing that. At least they haven't yet. I do worry when they do decide to change their stuff over and go to apparently new templates and all that. I really worry about that because as they did as when Reebok first started, they were doing the CCM style, the CCM materials, the templates, all that. It was still the CCM / Coho. Then when they decided to do the Reebok Edge and change everything, oh God, it was not pretty. They were supposed to have, all these teams are supposed to fit on it. All these teams, you couldn't have your own template, your own design. No, you had to fit on all these certain particular templates, which is why you basically had the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Ottawa Senators. They had it was the same jersey. Different colors, different logos, different colors, same exact jersey. It was awful, just awful. And Ottawa kept that throughout the Adidas era, through a good chunk of the Adidas era. I never understood that. I'm like, why? What? And again, with Reebok, let's get rid of the hemline stripes because, we're gonna make the players tuck them into the pants. Thank God the players said, no. The Reebok Edge, it's gonna make the players 9% faster. Like you can really tell. it just the excuses that were made for Reebok was just insane. And then finding out, of course, that the teams made the teams made the design choices. Not really. Reebok basically told them what they could do. That's why you had so many teams. That's why Dallas had to go to that Dallas University jersey, because the Reebok template couldn't accommodate the Dallas Stars star jersey, the 1999 style star jersey. That was awesome. Which, of course, you hear something like that, and a response I would have made, well, our template doesn't allow that. Well, then change your flipping template. Or why are you changing in the first place? It's, stuff like that. But it was little things like that. Little things like that. This basically, with this collar, letting you know what is coming from Reebok for a number of the teams. And then this neckline coming from Reebok about what Adidas was eventually going to look like. And again, this collar is way easier to put on. Where, the Adidas ones, some of the collars, they're for people with a larger size head, it can be interesting trying to get it over my big dome here. But just little decisions like that you kind of look back on and you're like, that should have been a clue that, we're changing manufacturers in another couple of years. CCM/Coho to Reebok with this neckline, and then Reebok to Adidas with this neckline. It's basically the same. So, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Did anybody at the time ever catch that? Because I didn't really catch it at the time. I didn't really even think much about it until I saw the Reeboks come out and I saw that neckline, and I'm like, okay, interesting. But I'm curious if anybody ever really caught that. And the same with the neckline from the Reebok going to Adidas. Did anybody catch those little subtle hints that the manufacturers were dropping at the time that, hey, we're going to be changing manufacturers in the next couple of years. This is what they might look like. Let me know if any of you guys caught that, because I'll admit I didn't at the time, but it's interesting going back and looking at it and being like, oh yeah, it was there. The hints were there. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Let me know your opinions. Hit that like button. Smash that like button. That would be awesome. Please subscribe to the channel. That would be fantastic. I would love you forever. Hit that little notification bell or tap that little notification bell. Whichever one you want to do. You can hit it. You can tap it. Whichever. Tap the little notification bell that will notify you anytime future videos are uploaded. Also, share this video with everyone that you know. Share the video with everyone that you don't know. And if you have friends or family that love hockey jerseys, that just love hockey in general, as I do, and they like to watch hockey stuff on YouTube, and they have not heard of their channel yet, let them know about the channel. Let them know the channel is here. I would love to have every hockey fan in the world. I would love to have you all join me here on the channel. That would be absolutely fabulous. And yeah, so let me know in the comments what you guys think of that. And I got a couple other little ideas here for videos. Getting back into the jersey comparison videos. And also, I figured out the averages for all 32 teams for my Power Performance Index, where they all finish. And I got them all averaged out. I wrote them all down. And that could be a lengthy video. I'll try not to, but I'll be obviously writing down, what the totals were and all that. So, that could be a little bit of a lengthy video, but that will probably be in the next day or so. I'll do that. So yeah. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments on this video on the little subtle hints of New Jersey manufacturers that came up. So yeah, give that a look. Light up the comments section. Hit that like button. And yeah, subscribe to the channel. And that would be awesome. So again, like, comment, subscribe, share. I will see you guys later.